Ooh.
Brothers does.
Mystery guest?
I want to fry.
You should see if the delivery guy wants to be a guest.
Warning, this podcast contains violence, sexuality, gore, and other horrible and disturbing things. Listener discretion is advised. Also, the hosts of this venture are ignorant dipshits, so please do not take anything they say as fact. And enjoy the show.
Now, are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then we'll begin.
Today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be.
It is our basic human right to be forgotten.
A second plane now has crashed into the other tower of the World Trade Center.
Putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
The defendant shall be incarcerated for the rest of her natural life with no possibility of parole.
You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men.
We were somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs began to take hold.
Occultae Veritatis.
Welcome to Occultae Veritatis podcast. I am Ood Gallifrey.
Sanctuary!
And fueled by THC and cherry drink mix, we have Richard Bigley.
Sounds like a terrible combination.
Yeah, really.
Probably, yeah. Should have thought that one through a bit harder. I'm sorry.
And with us in studio,
Lady Mercury, you don't want to catch me in retrograde.
And omnipotent, benevolent. Wow, I am absolutely poisoned. Bananavolent. Valhalla.
When you speak a celestial language, you don't need English anymore. And I'm Arthur.
Yes, our internal temperature's all raised by 3 degrees when Valhalla walked in the room. It's like an electric blanket all around.
They're so warm and nice.
Today we are talking about a YouTuber named Onision. Now, this is an episode that I went into a lot more detail than I should have, but that's because I have a history with this guy. All the stuff I'm talking about is stuff that I witnessed live. I watched this drama unfold, and I kind of grew up with the dude because I think I'm 5 years behind him. He was born in 1985, and I watched all this drama live, and I covered it live, and this is the first time I've compiled it in my own research style to present it, and I want to get this is not like a totally black and white episode where this is criminal abuse. This is abuse that is more familiar and more insidious. This is abuse that happens in households all around the world.
You have a history with people that commit abuse online.
Yeah.
So Daddy of Five compared to this, how would you compare that? I'm just wondering.
I would say the major differences between Daddy of Five and Onision is Daddy of Five put his abuse seemingly in the front seat to present to YouTube, and it seemed like the motive was profit. He wanted to make a lot of money off this YouTube channel, and he wanted to be notorious, and he really didn't see him abusing his kids on camera as abuse. Onision really, his abuse isn't central to his YouTube channel. His YouTube channel is full of skits and funny and meme reviews and basic bullshit like that. But his abuse is more hidden, and I think Onision is a lot more intelligent as well. He seems to be more careful and more measured, checking to make sure the things he does are just on this side of legal, or appear just on this side of legal, where Daddy of Five seemed to flippantly act without any regard for laws. He just assumed it would be okay and made a lot of money because of it. I think Onision is much more aware of what he's doing than Daddy of Five was. Daddy of Five is somebody who should know better, but doesn't. Despite him coming to the age of an adult, he still chooses to abuse his kids, and no matter how many times people tell him, he doesn't see that abuse as abuse. He sees him just being a rough and tumble dad, and I'm toughening them up for the world anyway. Meanwhile, he's beating them and abusing them emotionally.
But raking in some fat cash while he does it, so it's also catered for him.
Yeah, and it's almost an ignorant, it's almost like an ignorant pig-headed abuse with Daddy of Five. And also, Daddy of 5 isn't nearly as good as manipulating people as Onision is. Onision's abuse is much more careful, much more insidious. He's been very careful to avoid doing things that are strictly illegal, or when he does things that are strictly illegal, making sure there's no evidence there so that can be convicted. And it's gotten to the point where, according to some law expert that I looked into that asked questions about this case, he may not be punished for the things I'm about to talk about. So I'd say that's the difference. Yeah, so I'm going to dive into all this bullshit, but first we need some poison.
Oh, yeah. Poison.
So, what's your poison?
So, for the poison today, we have a beautiful blackish, reddish liqueur directly from Iceland. It's called Opal Vodka Scott.
Opal vodka, Scott. No,
As
that's
well.
Ukrainian accent.
Well,
I can't
I
do
think-
any others.
That's your default.
I think the name of it is Opal, and it's a type of vodka Scott. It's 27%. It has a whole bunch of words in the back that are all in Icelandic, therefore I have no idea what they say. And it comes with candies.
Yes.
ASMR.
Well, it's just talk like the chef from the Muppets, and then we're going to
That's
go.
This you have to go.
Fuck, I'm ignorant yet again. God damn.
The only thing I know
What
in
have you
Icelandic
done?
is what I've just looked up, which is how to say cheers, which is skål.
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 Skål. Like the
Skål. Like
I was
Minnesota
gonna say-
Vikings.
For some reason, Lutfisk keeps coming to mind, but that's like Norwegian. So.
I was going to say, when anyone played Age of Mythology or Age of Empires, when you'd make your Norse people, they'd go, skull.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a thing. So we've all experienced it.
What I would suggest is take a wee sniff in your glass and try not to smell it.
Oh.
Why are we sniffing it if we're not trying to smell it?
Oh, I'm going to.
I need
I
to.
mean, you told me not to, so now I
a
have
sniff,
to.
as in a small amount.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wouldn't
okay.
take
Sorry,
much
I'm
more
dumb.
than this.
I'm gonna take a good whiff, just because I know
It's called a sniff.
I know my pain is the audience's pleasure, so I had, you know.
At
Richard,
least one
took
other
a
person
sniff.
in the room. Come on.
Don't ruin it for everyone.
How dare I?
Don't ruin it.
Richard,
yet.
don't be a
So
hater.
good. Oh, you just drank it right away, or you're
No, I
not?
drink my.
She's pouring it and taking
Sage
shots.
is
I
behind.
look over
Straight from
Sage.
the bottle,
Yeah, Sage.
She ate a whole pizza. She don't give a fuck.
like,
I did literally just eat a whole pizza.
This tastes like water to me.
So,
I like it.
Opal.
ladies and gentlemen, skål.
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 Skål. Oh my god. I want more of it. Fuck that. You told me to take a little bit.
Tastes
I want
awful.
more.
Hold on.
Yeah.
But it worked.
This
also
is
comes
Buckley
with
Yes.
shit.
This is the Buckleys of alcohol. This is exactly that.
But Iceland's got it on point.
So it does kind of taste like Buckley's.
Yeah. It is
But it's 30% alcohol.
strangely comforting.
It is actually not as bad as it sounds us describing it, but it's not
Yeah.
good either.
I feel my sinuses clearing.
I love it.
It's a
I feel
little.
So what the
healthy
fuck is
now.
this? Is this a cough drop? Like
Yeah, they're like I said, they're
Oh.
I just suck on them. Suck on them. But
Suck it.
I can't.
I feel healthier now after consuming that, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel very
like
full of menthol.
Like I feel like
That's
my
the-
sinuses are clearing, my voice is getting deeper. and
This is what a
everything,
witch in the
so-
1700s would give you to secure the hole in your head.
But there's
you know?
definitely
That's right,
eucalyptus
yes.
in there.
But so yeah, this was a friend of mine went into Iceland for a trip because their family's Icelandic, and this is the shit they brought back. And
I feel so fresh.
it is. It's like drinking a mint.
Buckley's, or if someone found a way to concentrate and liquefy Ricolas.
Yeah.
I don't
know?
like the candy. I'm just gonna like.
I haven't had the candy yet because I'm still.
I'm trying to think of another food that's similar to this, where I don't like the taste itself, but I like the immediate after effects.
No,
Garlic.
just drink
Oh, yeah.
Buckley's, you know.
Eating raw cloves of garlic.
Yeah, horrible.
I would rather have Buckley's that gets you drunk. Though.
Oh, can we do like a garlic poison, like where we all
Oh,
just like
yes,
eat
I'll
a
be
piece
here
of
for that.
garlic?
Oh, yeah.
so awesome.
Did we not eat pickled garlic recently?
Oh, but that was
That was pickled
Pickled
carrots.
garlic is
Okay, but like
delightful.
you can
though.
have
It was-
pickled.
oh, yeah.
Also bring really good roasted garlic.
Oh.
I did
Oh, yeah.
also make fermented leeks, which were really, really good. And I just bought more leeks.
Yeah.
My leeks. I just bought more leeks. I'm gonna ferment them. It's gonna be amazing.
Okay. I was looking at putting them in the stew, but
They're not for stew.
okay.
Not
Those
for
are not stew leeks.
No leek for you.
They are not for stew.
What do we name the Icelandic Buckley-Cop syrup?
Oh, fuck yeah.
It's efficient. I give it efficient.
It's eerily comforting.
Yeah, that's efficient and eerily comforting. Yes,
I like it.
That's it. Like you feel fresh. You feel like I said. I feel healthier after consuming.
I feel like
it.
everything's clearer.
I wasn't speaking because I was really trying to process what I'm going through, and like I have clear sinuses. I feel perky. Like this is exactly what you need when you're under the weather.
My chest feels very cool.
Yeah, I took a little bit more of it. Like here we go again.
Off you go.
I'm definitely going to give this a 2 out of 2, which is my terrible Icelandic for 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Iceland, socialist paradise, great alcohol. Stop making us look bad, Iceland. We're watching you. Because a lot of the narrators of this story, mostly Onision, but also others involved, are very unreliable, and a lot of them, as far as I can tell, have a tendency to lie and shift timelines and change stories. It's very hard to keep track of the timeline, so keep mind of that while listening to this. This is my best interpretation of what happened in this situation. Also, to pay attention to the disclaimer that was at the start of this episode, Onision. I sort of know you're listening because you love to pursue anything that has your name in it. This is just my best interpretation of what happened, and these are all just allegations. The proof of these things has not been sought out in a court of law yet. It may be one day. Yeah. So there we go. Listener discretion is advised. Here is Onion Boy.
Do you know who has to point out that they're about to be really honest? People who aren't normally honest. Hello, I am Onision, the most honest YouTuber, or maybe one of the most honest YouTubers. I don't know of anyone more truth-telling than me, but I'm one of the most honest YouTubers, if not the most honest YouTuber. Some people consider me to be the most honest YouTuber. One of the most honest YouTubers on the internet. The most honest YouTuber.
There's a reason people call me the most brutally honest YouTuber. It's because I fucking am. I'm the most brutally honest, popular YouTuber. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people know me to be the most brutally honest YouTuber.
You're being talked to by one of the most honest YouTubers on YouTube. If you're gonna fuck with someone, don't fuck with one of the most honest people on YouTube. Self-proclaimed, we'll say. Other people call me it too. But self-proclaimed, one of the, if not the most honest YouTubers. Okay, I'm extremely painfully honest. It hurts sometimes. So when you don't trust the proclaimed most honest YouTuber, one of the most honest YouTubers, you see how honest I am? I'm just flowing the facts. I hope you appreciate my transparency, my honesty. I am transparent. I am honest. I have all the facts, and you guys don't really have much of anything. Hey, I'm Onision, Fact Machine, as known by some. Honest Greg, or some call me the Fact Machine. I have a much greater ally than you, which is facts. Facts! I'm going to show you numerous documents that prove I have been honest. You see, people, this is what honesty sounds like. This is what honesty sounds like, okay? Don't be mad.
Well, I am honest.
It's not a perverted thing. It's honesty.
Who is Onision? So, he has a lot of history, and it's hard to contain him into one concept. How I would describe his content is trashy smosh. So, smosh...
Trashy smosh.
Yeah. So
or schmosh.
Schmosh.
Schmosh, not smosh.
Yeah,
not,
smosh.
We're going with schmosh.
How do you spell that?
S-M-O-S-H.
Smosh.
Wait,
Get out of my
Smosh.
I was thinking like
Smosh was a different YouTube thing.
Smosh.
Smosh.
Like,
Exactly, that's what I was going for.
Smosh did kind of like...
A donkey.
Smosh did kind of like simple, loud, in-your-face, like sketch comedy. Onision was the version of that if it was a lot more clumsy, a lot trashier, and like wasn't nearly as clever. And it appealed to some demographic somewhere because he built an audience off of it.
Oh, hi! You see this little thingy right here? It's called a puzzle. And if you didn't know I'm a criminal mastermind, I could surely solve this little dealy-majig. So here we go! Here we go! Okay, the first thing you should know about any Rubik's Cube is that they're easy. Any moron, jackass, or joker could solve one. Sorry, what?
Yeah, so he has a bunch of channels. His main channel is loud, obnoxious, short skits with shock humor. He often has characters like the Joker and stuff like that. He likes characters where he can yell and be huge and be obnoxious. Those are the characters he builds. Bro, he reviews and give hot takes on current events. A couple of the top videos on there are ghetto people picture reviews and YouTubers without makeup. So
my God, fuck this guy.
Oh yeah. Oh, you just you wait. And he also has a channel called Onision Speaks, where he does mini monologues, rants. A couple of the top videos on here is what guys think about makeup and how fat is too fat for a girl to be.
Oh my God.
This bitch.
Watch me eat this slice of pizza, bitch.
I ate a whole pizza.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really small, but
I was gonna say that was.
I ate 4 slices of pizza, which was definitely more than what you ate by yourself.
He appealed to a very simple, very reactionary, very kind of immature audience because he gave immature, dumb hot takes, and he presented them in a very charismatic and smarmy way and confident way that sold people that. Even though he was talking bullshit, that he knew what he was talking about.
Just bully ass guys that are like, oh, she's wearing makeup, so she's not that pretty.
Yeah.
Or dare I say this on something that will be broadcasted, but Barstool Sports. Oh, she's a smoke show. Total smokes, right?
Yeah.
And that's how they classify women.
Yeah.
Horrible.
I fucking hate men.
Yeah. Yeah.
I needed to say that once throughout this episode.
I'm beginning to think maybe men aren't sending us their best people,
Seriously, all the underdogs, there are some great ones, but they're buried underneath all this fucking trash.
I've never once agreed with a Trump quote in my life, but that's the only one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Yeah, so before I go into it, Onision follows a pattern with his relationships. And he basically does the same thing over and over again with different partners, and he abuses them horribly, and it goes through the same way over and over again. So first he baits them. So he constantly thirst posts, he posts things about how he's lonely or how he wishes he had somebody to love, which of course makes his 12-year-old to 14-year-old to 16-year-old fan base fawn over him and beg for his attention. Be like, oh, I would be yours, no problem, and all that stuff. Baiting teens to message him. And he presents himself as this to his audience. Once he finds someone he likes, he starts immediately luring them in, and he tends to go really quick, really soon.
It's 5:30 a.m. I've been editing a video all night and talking to my new girlfriend on Skype. I got a girlfriend. I asked her out and she said yes. So that's great. If you guys haven't figured it out, I am not happy unless I have someone to share my life with. And now a big void in my life has been completely filled. Something that has been killing me for the past month and a half or so.
So, I'm talking when he meets one of his victims, after talking to her for just a few days, on stream, he presents signed divorce papers saying, okay, I just divorced my wife for you because I'm totally in love with you. You have to be totally in love with me now because I sacrificed all this for you.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, yeah.
He just loves hard.
Yeah. So once he baits them in, he separates them. Classic abuse.
So
behavior.
the R. Kelly thing where he, yeah, that kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
No friends,
Flashback
no family.
to the R. Kelly episode.
He gets victims close to him, and he restricts family visits. His current partner, Kai, Onision says that he restricts Kai to only visit his family twice a year. And he often accompanies Kai on those trips to visit the family so he can keep an eye on Kai.
God.
Yeah. at one point, he either breaks up with them and pushes them away, or they leave him, or they get rescued somehow, or they leave, and then he love bombs them. He says he's going to change. It's never going to happen again. Like, it was a one-time thing. It was just a phase. Like, please take me back. It'll never happen again. I'll make you the luckiest woman in the world. I love you so much. I've dedicated my life to you. Please come back to me. All that shit.
So like, oh my God, I'm so bored by all of that.
I was going to say, quick digital show of hands from anybody who identifies as anything listening who's gone through that shit at least once, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, am I wrong in thinking that this is the worst parts of both an abusive relationship and a cult coming together?
Yeah.
A little bit.
A little bit. And he does have a cult. Like, this is the strange thing. He forms his own cult. And there's very little information about what he used those beliefs on later on, but the control he employs over his partners is very cult-like. Like, I'm going to be going through the Bite model to review what his cult did, and how it controlled his partners, and we'll go over that. So from love bombing, one of two things happens. If they reject him again and don't take him back, he then sends them hate. He'll post personal information about them on his YouTube channels. He'll complain about them, and he'll sick his audience of sometimes millions of people on those people. And sometimes those people are hounded off the internet. Like, they have to delete their Twitters and they have to leave because they can't handle.
Culture?
Yeah, they can't handle the hordes of Onision fans that he pointed at them.
Hey, I want to talk about rebounding. The reason I want to talk about rebounding is for the sake of everyone watching this, so they do not make the same mistakes I have made. Rebounding involves two parties, normally, where one party has lowered their standards significantly due to them being lonely and desperate, and another party is taking advantage of that fact and dating them, even though under normal circumstances that person would never be with them. Now, quite a few months ago, I was rebounding. I just got out of a pretty heavy relationship, and I was not only lonely but desperate as well, the deadly combination. And I decided to date someone who had slept with over 20 people prior to me, 18 men and 3 women, according to her. But I overlooked this, even though she had over 4 times the amount of people in her bed than I ever had. She never really had sex for love other than 3 times, which should have been a problem because I only have sex for love. She was previously an alcoholic. She was previously a druggie. She may have still been an alcoholic, and I overlooked this completely. Allegedly, I was told that she wasn't even a vegetarian, that she lied about it, because apparently on Skype she was eating a steak in spite of me, which a lot of you may not care about, but if you care about honesty, you should probably consider that as something important. This individual decided to spread a bunch of lies about me, which should have been a flag when I read the lies she told about her first boyfriend, or one of her first boyfriends, where she cheated on him. And the fact that she cheated on someone should have also been a flag to me, but again, I was rebounding, desperate, and lonely, so I overlooked that. I was basically overlooking every single thing that should have been an obvious no-go because of how pathetic I was, how desperate I was. I talked to my mom, I talked to my sisters, I talked to my friends. Everybody was saying that it was a bad idea to be with her because, in their opinion, she was a total whore. To be only 26 and to have slept with over 20 people is ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous. And yeah, I was just forgiving all of it because she came up with a story saying, oh, I thought that was all I was good for and that's why I did that. You sleep with people because you think that's what you're good for? Like, how low do you have to be to resort to sleeping around? Like, I don't understand that. And on top of that, you cheated on someone. Did you think you were supposed to do that too? Did you think that you were supposed to sleep with people when you're already in a relationship because that's what you're meant to do? Because I'm pretty sure that much would have been clear. Anyway, so she told me about how she cussed at cops on the street when she was completely plastered off her blood.
And if they take him back, as what happened with one of his last victims, he eventually grooms that victim into becoming a predator themselves. Yeah, kind of.
It's a circle of life.
Yeah, it's a terrible thing. Yep.
It's kind of like pickup artists, like that kind of that episode and how they are very controlling, and they you got to groom, and like the negs and all that other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
very
much like pickup artisty, and then how kind of like how they go out and try to propagate their bullshit to other people. So you got like a million other David D'Angelo's or whatever else,
Oh yeah, like as somebody who was like one of those cringy pickup artists in his early 20s, like there's some worrying parallels. Like there's something called the freeze out in order to manipulate women into having sex. And what the freeze out is you are paying attention to a woman and you're talking to her and you're being nice to her, and as soon as she says, no, I'm not ready, or please don't do that, you then drop all attention, become totally cold and vacant.
Oh my God.
And you don't return affection until they agree to do the thing you wanted to do again. It's a way to manipulate your way into raping them. And Onision does something the same thing. When he doesn't get what he wants, he withdraws affection. And with some of these people that we're going to be talking about, they have no one else. He separated them from everybody. So he withdraws from them, and they're forced to come back because he's the only person in their life anymore.
So it's like the intersection of our pickup artists, our cult episode, and our Kelly episode, all in one, all embodied in one single human being.
Well, it's that isolation, right? Isolation is the first step in manipulation, because if you don't have people telling you that the shit you're hearing is crazy, then who's there to tell you that this is wrong and you should change? First step in manipulation absolutely is isolation.
And I guess comes the gaslighting and everything else.
Yeah, one point out real quick too, that unlike other people where you'll Google them and they'll say, registered sex offender, also find their music later. When you look up Onision, you get his YouTube channel, and then his Wikipedia, and then his Twitter, and how to find him on Spotify. So right now, there is no mention of any of this on the first Google.
And
wow,
I mean that has to go into like how Hollywood is just like a major sex ring, right? Like that has to all be interconnected with each other because it's only about making money.
Oh yeah, some of the secrets that come out, like we're gonna be doing some episodes later on some of the sex rings that have been found, like not like Alex Jones screaming in the night bullshit, like actual registered like sex rings of kids that were perpetrated in history, like real life shit that was in newspapers. We're going to be covering some of that at a later date. But yeah, like I feel that it's important to cover Onision because like similar to covering Daddy of Five, this is an abuse that's not like overtly evil. This is an abuse that so many people experience. It's so common, and I'm guessing that a few of our listeners will start to hear some familiar things, and if you start to hear that, maybe it's time to talk to somebody and reevaluate your relationship. Alrighty. So, Onision, a.k.a. Gregory James, a.k.a. Gregory Avero, a.k.a. Greg Jackson, a.k.a. James Jackson. So just as a precursor to what we're getting into, the dude has changed his name multiple times in order to avoid things, in order to like avoid fans. And often, like if he gets in trouble with one name, he'll change his name to something else so that his new name isn't on any paperwork. And he also gets sometimes his partners and his children to change his names along with him. 1985.
That's insane.
Oh
He gets
yeah.
everyone to change it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, his there's only been one time that he's admitted changing his husband and his children's names. But who knows how many times it has happened, because if he admits to it once, it could have happened again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I mean, a lot of times they say, like, once somebody actually cops to something, they've done it so many times prior, right? Because, like, they're confident at that point that they're not going to get caught.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's like Trudeau and his brown face and black face and everything
Fuck
else,
that guy.
where it was like, okay, one thing gets leaked out, and then the media's like, was this the only thing? And he's like,
Yeah, that was the only one.
I cannot confirm that. And it's like, then like weeks later, another video comes out, and then another one comes out.
I potentially, hypothetically, allegedly, probably say that that's the only time it's happened.
Yeah. So now, Greg, what you're going to learn about him is he has a lot of tall tales. He says a lot of things, and you don't know whether he's telling the truth or not, or stretching the truth, or stealing from somebody else. So, in 1985, Greg is born. According to him, he was born blue with an umbilical cord around his neck, but somehow he miraculously survived.
Okay.
And yeah, he uses this in a context in one of his videos to kind of like imply like a Jesus narrative. Like, I should have died, but I survived, so I have a reason.
I'm going to say right now, he probably did it, and I had no part in that. So, bam, bam, bam. Goddess knowledge.
Oh, yeah. He grew up as a Seventh-day Adventist. It's a very fundamentalist form of Christianity, very observant of Sundays. Often people that are in that religion like will actually take Sunday off instead
They're
of
like
just...
very much
Can't
like
work.
biblical literalists.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. In 1997, when he was 12 years old, he refused to go to church. He starts cobbling together what would later become his personal belief system, a cult-like organization called Sieska. And we'll go more of that later. When he fully puts it into action, then I'll go over it. In his teens, he creates simple websites. One called Cries of the Crypt, which is like a 9 Inch Nails tribute site. He has a few childhood relationships. Like your classic, like, misanthrope, like teen years. Like he says a girl broke up with him for having the wrong colored eyes. He was dumped for not identifying a movie quote. Again, is he making this shit up? Who knows?
Probably.
Yeah. He gets in a fight with his dad, and he gets sent to juvie for a few years.
A few years?
For what? At juvie?
Yeah, he gets in a physical fight with his dad. And I don't know if... I couldn't find any actual record of this, so again, I don't know if he's making it up, but he says that he got into a fight with his dad defending someone, and then he got sent to juvie for a few years.
But, like, okay, so how do you get sent to juvie for a few years for getting into a fight with your dad?
Yeah. If live PD has taught me anything.
You like, usual course of action isn't like a night away to cool down, and then, yeah.
Yeah, you get like replanted into the home later. They do home visits. They monitor you.
Depending on how many times this has happened in the past. We don't know, right?
But like saying if this is like a first...
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Right.
It's take one of them out of the house to cool down.
Right. So, I don't know. Like, it
especially
just
since Onision was a fairly well-off white kid. I mean, like...
Right, you're a so emotional
Hold
right
on.
now.
Are we saying that possibly Onion Man here isn't necessarily telling the truth?
No.
Is that
Get out of
my theme we might be trying to establish?
Are you saying that people would go on the internet and tell things that aren't true? Why would they do that?
You know what? Ask the guy who made weed ice cream and then calculated using numbers and facts off the internet. So
what
I don't
our
know.
dosage was.
Yeah, what our dosage was. I don't know.
Yeah. So, 2003, Greg turns 18. He begins dating 17-year-old Sky. I mean, 18-year-olds and 17-year-olds, not a huge deal, but it's not going to follow that trend. Not a huge deal is not going to be the thing I'm going to be saying often here. Soon after he begins to date Sky, he tries to kiss Sky's 15-year-old sister, Alicia.
Ew.
Yeah. Also, when he's 18, he puts up the Sieska website, and he tries to recruit people to it. From various forums. Sometimes he would act like he's a follower, and he would try and bring people over, and sometimes he would act like he's a leader, and he would try and bring people over. So he was trying to seduce people into the Sieska site. And Sieska was kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like a patchwork of a bunch of different belief systems. So he basically took a bunch of existing religions, he picked and chose what he liked, and he stuck it all together. He said that he chose religions and parts of religions which, quote-unquote, he found most logical. And he combined them into one collective religion. And yes, he's one of those, like, I am pure logic, the most honest man on YouTube types.
Sounds like a neckbeard.
Yeah, I was going to say, sounds very gentlemanly.
I started a religion when I was 17 called Sieska, and I followed it for like a year, and then I kind of just gave it up and became agnostic. Let's talk about what happens when you die. Okay? In my experience, a lot of people just stick around when they die. Some people move on, and I believe that is possible, that these people are going to different planets with different life forms on them, because this is a big universe, depending on whether or not they behave properly on this planet. The theory is that there are many planets. There are planets where there's mostly good, and it's mostly it's like a heaven, so to speak. And then there's planets that are just filth, that are just saturated with the biggest piles of garbage. Okay, Earth is one of the yin-yang ones. I believe that's how you say yin-yang, yin-yang. It has half good, half evil, or mostly good, mostly evil to the half degrees. Maybe it's 47 and 53, or maybe it's 46 and 54, something like, I don't know. The point is that we're pretty proportionate as far as evil and good goes. So this is kind of the learning planet. It's kind of like the middle stage planet, where let's say you are a serial killer. Okay, based on how many people you kill, or the intent of killing them, or just the general specifics of the scenario, you're going to go either down or up on this ranking system. A lot of people stay on Earth repeatedly because it's such a good learning experience, as there's so many variables on this planet, as contrasts from the higher levels where there's just mostly an easier life. This is a theory. If you spend a life killing people, then you may be subjected to murder in another life, if you are in fact reincarnated. Because the concept of just one life doesn't make sense if there is any afterlife, because how is that fair if one person's born extremely physically, mentally, and financially blessed, and another person's born the opposite? That doesn't make sense. You would think that there were a reason for that. I believe that when you die, there is an opportunity to choose what your next life is, unless you were just a total POS. If you're a total piece of shit, then you don't get to choose. You probably are automatically slotted to be the victim of whatever nonsense you were behaving in regards to in your previous life. Like if you were a total dick to everybody, congrats. Now you're the person that's receiving the dickishness.
Oh yeah, there's an archive of his old website. Yeah, and it had a whole bunch of things about like what he wanted to accomplish, and a bunch of answers and quick answers. And every time he clicked on one of those, it would bring up a different page that went in short degree about that.
Was there the difference between a fedora and a trilby also?
Yeah. On the website, he basically implied in a paragraph that if you don't understand Sieska, then you're too stupid to understand Sieska. So it's that like automatic pressure of like, well, if you don't get it, you're stupid. You want to be smart, right? Just say you get it, like that whole thing.
May I quote the Sieska perspectives involving sexuality?
Feel free.
I was going to ask about it.
Yeah.
Because, everyone wants to know.
Mm-hmm.
Humans were created in two classes, male and female. One sentence.
Yeah.
One to complement the other, and mutually so.
Oh, goody, gender roles. Yeah.
Yeah. So first off, he can't write very well. Also,
nope.
There are men and women, and they complement each other.
Yeah.
That's what has to happen. Yeah. Oh, and there's also a point in the common male's desire for dominance.
Yep.
An appreciation of the complexities of a woman must go through in order to produce a new physical body. Are not respected.
Yeah,
some of these things aren't the worst things to say. It's like maybe we should respect women, but also male dominance is a thing, and other sexes are just not there. And
just word salad.
My brain just wants to do the Dwight nod, where he's like,
"It's a podcast; they can't see you doing it."
It's just a straight up and down.
So this is how the Sieska universe works. Souls exist, but are only compatible with some bodies. They are born out of the middle of the planet, so apparently the energy at the middle of the planet gives birth to souls. And because the Earth gives birth to our souls, it's our duty to protect the planet.
That sounds pretty fucking metal, though.
It does.
Formed from the hot lava and iron core of our planet. It is your soul.
This is a dwarven mythology.
I was gonna say it's pretty power metal.
Yeah.
Gamma Ray would be proud.
I think I'm gonna co-op this for my dwarven like origin tales. Yeah. We are not meant to kill other creatures and people, so he kind of promotes veganism within it. Unless
Seventh-day Adventists are all vegetarian.
Yeah. He says, unless we use every part of the animal or plant. This is where it starts to get weird. So beyond human eyes, so on a level that humans can't detect, is called the divant. And the divant is this weird shadow sphere dimension.
Sounds like a typo.
Yeah. Yeah, D-I-V-A-N-T. Divant, right? Divant? I don't know.
Devon?
Devant, yes. There are two types of beings in this Devant.
Devant, maybe?
Maybe. There are the Zoden, souls who were not given any compatible body. Basically, there were souls that were sent out and they were plugged into a shitty body that they weren't compatible
Satans.
with. Yeah, it's like I said, he plucks from a bunch of different areas. You can see a bunch of things here. So these souls that are not compatible with some bodies, these are the souls that turn people into violent sociopaths that'll attack weak humans. And these souls that wander the divant, that once belonged to psychopathic bodies, are what ghosts are. So if you're a weak person with a weak will, you're going to be haunted by a ghost of a former serial killer or sociopath because their soul wasn't compatible with their body.
That totally isn't a mind thetan.
No.
Xenu had nothing to do with it.
There was also the Sironte, S-I-R-O-N-T-E. Sironte? I don't fucking know. There are souls who have successfully been in a body, and that body was compatible. Yay. These souls are content and happy, and they're stuck on Earth following false gods. So basically, if you go through life following a false god, your soul is still in one piece. It can still go back into bodies, but since you followed a false god, you're going to be stuck on Earth.
But you're happy, though. Is that what this was?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So
you're happy.
Yeah, so these souls have had like a good experience with their body. So the souls that weren't compatible with their bodies turn into serial killers and sociopaths, and they turn into shitty ghost souls that like terrorize people, and they can never enter a body again.
And then you got these guys following a false god.
Yeah.
And then
with like the 6 out of 10 life.
But
like,
they're doing all right. They're kinda happy.
Shitty Ghost Souls is the name of my Misfits fan fiction.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, love that.
And then there's the second type of souls where they have a good experience with the human body. They plug in, everything's compatible. Yeah, it's like how all Apple products just click like that.
I'm sorry. Have you ever used an Apple product?
No.
You have all the right dongles.
Damn it! I'm repeating their marketing. Fuck you, Apple. You got to me. Not again though.
I have never had a good Apple experience. No, wrong. Apple Music's pretty cool because all my weird eclectic music gets uploaded from my computer into their iCloud. But I mean, aside from that, every other Apple product I've touched has like turned to shit.
Squirrel says how Apple products click is the name of my new sex tape.
Yep.
Wunderbar. So aliens exist, and they probe and study humans because they're fascinated with us, because they don't have, like, planet core cooked souls like they do. So these aliens were formed by regular evolution, and they're super interested in us, like, holy shit, those guys have souls in the middle of them that came from the center of their planet. That's weird. Let's stick something in their ass. And
a fire in the sky.
Fire in the sky keeps on burning.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking of like the Cartman gets an anal probe episode.
That's what I immediately thought too.
It's over, that fucking sad light just comes right up.
Lord in heaven. Oh, that was somewhere deep in my memory.
Excuse me?
That was somewhere deep in my memory, and it just
Thank you.
Yeah, you really meant that.
Yeah. I apologize to anybody.
And
I understand. I
Take up your South Park space. Don't apologize for shit.
And like, if you don't want to be one of those souls following false gods, immediately turn to the cult of Valhalla.
Yeah.
I'm not false. I'm just lazy sometimes.
That's right. It's not a false god. It's just a lazy god.
Sometimes she gets really caught up watching The Office for the 40th time.
Do you want a god that actually listens to you? Do you want a god that has all kinds of divine things? Or do you want a god that's more like you than you might imagine? I think we all want a god like Val.
But wait, there's more. If you sign up now, you get pictures of an adorable hellhound straight to your phone.
Hey, you there, listening on your device. I'm Ood Gallifrey, here to sell you a totally tubular opportunity. Do you like supporting independent media? Do you like Canadian idiots talking about random shit that they researched on a Saturday while half high? Well, do we have an opportunity for you? For as little as $1 a month, you too can join the Cult of Valhalla. You get to vote on future episode topics and be a background producer that chooses which episodes get recorded next. You also get access to the Black Archive, which is a feed you can input into your device that'll allow you to get episodes 1 week early and also a bunch of bonus content, like us checking out bullshit porn that ruined our childhoods. Lastly, you get to join the Discord channel, where Valhalla, the hosts, and all the other patrons form a little community where we share memes and do other random bullshit. It's pretty okay. So, join today, www.patreon.com/ovpod. See you in the cult. Patreon.com/ovpod, bonus episode and vote on future episode.
Call now.
And if you order in the next 15 minutes, you will get an empty Swan pizza box for free.
It was mine.
I'll even lick it once if you request it. If not, that's cool. It's all good.
Bigley will also lick it. Maybe
We'll all sign it, except we just draw a penis.
Yeah.
Penis is actually like my actual legitimate signature, so
I drew dicks on all my Christmas cards.
I know.
I know.
I remember.
I don't know. Christmas 2020.
Oh yeah,
I'm
It's
not
coming.
expecting it.
It's not. I'm gonna start preparing. I'm gonna start preparing now instead of on December 23rd. So
Good plan.
yeah. So
Either way, I'm on the list.
in order to be quote unquote good on Earth, you have to learn lessons, overcome obstacles, and not hurt others. If you realize what you are, that you're an earth-cooked soul, you then realize your potential. And once you realize your potential and you're not following any false gods and you realize you're an earth-core-baked soul that's special, you can then choose your destiny. And you can choose to level up or level down. So apparently there's a whole bunch of these planets throughout the universe, and some of them are progressively harder to live in and easier to live in than others. And you can choose whether you want to live on a higher level planet and gain more experience points, or on a lower level planet and level up slower. He gamified religion.
I'm pretty sure I know what the deity system's going to be for my next D&D campaign.
Yes, I think so. I like it.
Is this fucking RuneScape, right?
Yeah. Except this is real life. He believes this shit.
Thank you, Bray.
Is this real life? Is this just fantasy?
We're
Caught in a landslide.
We can't afford this guy.
Voice from reality.
Open your own.
Yeah, Sage is right. We cannot afford this.
No.
I have been obsessed with watching videos of people listening to that song for the very first time. You all should look it up.
How many seconds of that can we play for fair use? 3 seconds?
Well, 2.8 ideally without the risk of being sued.
Good Lord, we'll have to find the best 2.8 seconds.
And also, even if it's under that,
We'll call it the splice game.
Also, Patreon. Just kidding.
No, not just kidding. Join our
not just
Patreon.
Yeah. So after many thousands of lives, you go off to Nirvana. He also had some weird sections on this website where he gave advice to how to avoid rape. Like he got all victim blamey on on his religious cult website. He thought it was a priority to how to avoid rape was on there.
Ew.
Yeah. He basically wanted to build a group of people to die and be reborn together so they can travel from planet to planet in the astral plane. That's what his end goal was, or what he stated his end goal was.
Sounds like a cool book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Throw some Redwall-y type stuff in there, make small rodents people, and I'm super down if you get to travel to various planes.
Yeah. So 2005, so he puts up this website when he was 18, and when he's 20 in 2005, he joins the U.S. Air Force. He marries Sky, and of course this is like simple boot bullshit. Like, this is how, like, a lot of first-year cadets in the United States military will marry someone because that's how you get out of the barracks and get military housing if you have a wife or a partner. So a lot of people will like hitch up like really soon after they join the military, and he's one of those people that marries Sky. Now she's just a year younger than him. Sky starts to shrink away from family and friends. So Sky's friends notice and begin questioning things. On an early blog post, he defends himself saying, "We choose to be with each other for the rest of our lives, and having others in our life doesn't improve it." So he's basically saying, why would Sky need to go visit her family? Her family doesn't improve our lives, so what's the point of her visiting her family? Yeah. In a video posted to Onision Speaks, this is another thing. All his partners have mentioned this. He seems to have no disconnection between his personal life and his YouTube life. To his audience of sometimes millions of people, depending on where in his trajectory you find him, he will post hugely personal things about his relationship. Like things you wouldn't tell coworkers because they're too personal. He was broadcasting to millions of strangers.
Oh, tell me what it's like to have no separation between your personal life and your online celebrity life. Oh, it just, there's no difference, You get the whole Bigley all the time. Bigley never turns off,
All Bigley all the time.
All Bigley all the time.
All Bigley.
Yeah, so in a video posted to his Onision...
That's the name of his sex tape. There it is.
All Bigley all the time. That's the sex tape.
No, that's the name of your like smooth jazz vinyl record.
And also the biopic that will come out about you in 40 years.
Yes. You should make sleep tracks too, because you got the equipment and your voice is smooth.
My voice is smooth.
Yep.
Show you my sleep track equipment.
Yeah.
Some gentle
Please
jazz, some light.
I'm just curious.
Telling you, measure from the chin.
Just let me tippy tap a few of these words on my tongue, and then you'll be fast asleep pretty soon.
Tippity tap.
Tippity tap. So in a video posted to his Onision Speaks channel, he's let slip 2 new things that are parts of agreements in his relationships. That's another thing. He draws up contracts and agreements for his relationships to follow. One of them is complete honesty, which sounds healthy, but like a little bit of privacy is healthy in a relationship. He wanted no secrets, no half-truths, no privacy. He wanted to know where you were, what you were doing, and if you denied him this information, that was you being dishonest. Also, he let slip that there was a health pact. He worded it in a different language, but basically what it amounted to was it would be selfish to gain weight and not think of the other person's sexual needs.
Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah. So Greg enters and then drops out of SERE, so Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape. He claims it's because they were telling him to kill a rabbit and he wouldn't do it. Because that was that part of that course where you had to raise a rabbit and then kill it. And again, I don't know if this is true. I couldn't find any information on how they conduct their courses. And this sounds oddly like something from a movie. So
kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit.
Kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit.
It was a TV show that it's from, not a movie.
Yeah.
I was going to say, wasn't there something about someone who had to raise a falcon and then kill it?
Yeah, where's that from?
I truly cannot remember, but there's something about someone's father made them raise a falcon in some fantasy show, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he had to kill the falcon and it made him evil.
Raise a falcon.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It sounds like it comes from, because it's a fairly common trope. Like even in, there's a fairly new movie called The Kingsman where they raise a dog and then have to shoot it at their graduation.
I will point out, though,
Yeah.
I don't want to give this guy any real credibility.
Oh, yeah.
But the U.S. Air Force on Air Force Times has rebuffed PETA because PETA keeps telling them stop killing rabbits during your survival training.
Oh.
And they said we're not going to stop killing rabbits. So there is at least
Alrighty.
a lick of truth that they kill rabbits during training.
Yeah, and it is a survival course, so it would be the course to have that.
I just looked up that online and it came up with Kaibiles, which are Special Operations Wing of the Armed Forces Guatemala. They specialize in jungle warfare tactics and counterinsurgency operations. And in this, they're saying that that's exactly what they do. They like raise them and then drink their blood as part of their training.
All right. So
it's in a wiki.
Perfectly normal, I guess.
So yeah, I guess he's vegan. It's against his belief system. Valid. Okay. So he drops out of that course because he didn't want to kill the rabbit. You know, if I was training somebody in survival and they said that it was against their morals, I wouldn't hold it against them. I mean, that's valid.
Okay. It also says that recruitment for this specifically is voluntary. The training is given twice a year and lasts 60 days. Only 64 participants are allowed per training period, not older than 28 years of age, and no more than 10 have graduated in a single period.
Damn.
There we go. So he joined the security guard sect of the Air Force. He went on to make many claims about his military life. He would say that only the moral and ethical succeed in the military, so if you are promoted in the military, it must be because you're moral and ethical. Yeah, we're going to do an episode on Colonel Robert Hansen. He also said that civilian...
Russell Williams?
Russell Williams, yes. Russell Williams.
For you, Sage.
Bravo.
I'm accidentally high.
Episode, I think. The Russell Williams episode.
Yeah.
It's
a Lost OV pod episode. One day we might redo it.
Oh, yes. Yes, perhaps one day. He also said that civilians were by default uglier and more unkempt than military members. And every situation and controversy that he told in the military, because he was blogging this whole time about all his confrontations in the military, he always voiced it that he was always the victim and everybody was always the perpetrator on them. So, last where we left off, he was saying that every single controversy he ran into in the military, it was always structured as him versus everybody else. Everybody else was picking on him. He was never the problem. He was never the issue. It was always somebody else.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah. That old bag.
That old bag is the name of your sex tape.
Alrighty. Yeah, it's going to be a long one. Like I said, I have a long history with this guy. So next week we'll get more into his early 20s and more controversy as more partners start to enter and old partners start to leave. Things are going to get darker. But to play us out for this segment of this episode, here is Patrick Waddington, all the way from 1921, with his song, Night May Have Its Sadness. See you in the after show.
Night may have its sadness, but be sure to turn to gladness in the morning. Never care what others say, you'll always find another day's dawning. Away with trouble, you'll always find that only bubbles, so never mind. Always wear a happy smile and do not mind a little while of sorrow. Always love with all your might and you will find it all comes right tomorrow.
Alrighty, time to welcome some new members into the cult of Valhalla. So thank you for signing up, thank you for supporting us. Here's your shoutouts. Sydney Serrano, thank you. Get your itchy robe on the nearest hut to the left. Dan Schonhaar. Schonhair. I hope one of those is correct, Dan. Welcome to the cult of Valhalla. Henry Mitchell, thank you and welcome to the Cult of Valhalla. We're glad to have you. Matthew Birch, thank you for joining the cult and pledging to support us. Jennifer, thank you for pledging $5 a month and supporting the Cult of Valhalla. Your money is all going somewhere. You know, the cult collects, and we want to give back to our parishioners. We want to give back to our followers. We want to get a better computer so that editing is more reliable and sharper. We want to go on field trips to get some on-the-field action and on-site recording of episodes. And of course, we always want to grow the Cult of Valhalla. The more money we make, the more we can be supported. Continuing, upping his pledge from $5 a month to $6.66 a month is Doug LeMay. Thank you, Doug. You rock. Thank you for giving us an extra $1.66 a month. Every penny counts. Sage makes sure of it, because she's responsible with money. Yeah, she's in a good place. Last, but certainly not least, signing up just today, Kirby, the newest member of the Cult of Valhalla. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Alrighty, from Occultae Veritatis, I'm Ood Gallifrey. There's somebody in your life that you've been meaning to call or text, but you haven't yet. I'm sure they'd be glad to hear from you. Send that text, make that call. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.